President Trump has signed an executive order meant to give him more control over regulatory government agencies. He's requiring them to send the White House any regulation proposals to be reviewed. The order also says these agencies cannot spend money on anything that doesn't align with the administration. Let's connect now with CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes, who is following all of this for us from West Palm Beach this morning. Nancy, part of the executive order Trump signed says agencies must follow how the president and attorney general interpret the law. Help us understand what that means.
What it means, Errol, is that often various government agencies and departments, as laws come in, they will interpret those laws and incorporate them into their programs and policies. And what this executive order is now saying is that actually, no, those decisions all get made by the Office of the Presidency itself, by the President of the United States. So it's another effort to concentrate power not in various departments of the government, but actually at the White House itself. And the executive order even goes a step farther, Errol, and says that this even applies to quasi-independent government agencies like the Federal Communications Commission or the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Federal Election Commission, that have long had some autonomy from the White House and, in fact, were created that way. What this executive order is now saying is that they've got to run their interpretations of the law by the White House as well, and that their funding could be impacted if the White House determines that they are making decisions without White House input.
And Nancy, one of the more remarkable comments from President Trump was on the war in Ukraine that aired yesterday. President Trump said Ukraine, quote, should have ended it after 3 years. You should have never started it. What does that tell us about how the president views Russia's invasion?
Well, it would appear, Errol, that at every turn, when he is asked about this invasion, he tends to find fault not with the Russians who invaded, but fault by the Ukrainians who were invaded. Not only did he say yesterday that the Ukrainians never should have started this war, which is obviously patently false, but he also accused the president of Ukraine of dragging his heels on cutting a deal, and he said that President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine has an approval rating that is now at 4%, which is not true. Zelensky's approval rating is at about 50%, similar to President Trump's approval rating here in the United States. He also criticized Zelensky for imposing martial law, suggesting that that's undemocratic, again, without acknowledging that the reason that martial law has been imposed in Ukraine is because it was invaded by its much larger and more powerful neighbor. And this is really, it really goes beyond semantics, Errol, because what it indicates to the Ukrainians and what they worry about is the fact that as the president moves quite quickly to begin negotiations with Russia over ending this war, they fear that he is going to conduct those negotiations on Russia's terms and not on theirs.
Really interesting. Nancy Cordes joining us from West Palm Beach. Thank you, Nancy.